Okay, we're going to build a couple of joints here. We're going to do a single rabbet joint and a dado joint using 3/4 inch material, let's say hardwood. So I'm in a brand new project, and we'll just, I'll refer to some of my navigation a little bit, but basically we'll get right into building this material. So we'll get rid of Bruno first here. Boom, gone. That's using this and a delete key in order to get rid of him. And I need some material. So we're going to build this whole project. Not a big project, but we're going to build the whole thing out of 1x8 oak dressed. So in general, you're going to see almost sharp edges on them. So we need some 1x8. So we're going to build them right now. So I'm going to click on the origin and slide up with this rectangle tool. At the bottom, the dimensions show 0 and 41 and 1/16. What I want that to say is 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, comma, 7 1/4 inch, because that's the size of a dressed 1x8. Okay, so there's my 1x8. And we're basically just going to do a joint with 3 pieces of wood. So I need to extrude this. We're going to make it 24 inches long, so I'm going to extrude it using the push-pull. Grab that, push along, and I'm going to key in 24. Boom, done. Now I need 2 more of these things, so I'm going to select it using the select tool and surrounding it. And now I'm going to make duplicates of it. So I use the move, and you can click on it once now. It's got the move, but I do like grabbing it. And if I want to make a copy of this, I tap the control button and I get a little plus there, and then you can just slide it along. I'm going to navigate again here, and I'm going to do this again because I need another one. So I have tap the control key so I can move it again. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to navigate out, control back wheel, and just hold the wheel and scroll up so I can see them. So basically I want these 2 boards to slide into this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them and rotate them. I better turn here so I don't over select. Okay, these guys, and I'm going to rotate them 90 degrees. So I use the rotator here. It doesn't really matter where I do it because I have to move these things later anyway. So I'm clicking on the midpoint, I'm clicking on an edge, and I'm moving 90 degrees. It says 90, I'll tap. It's kind of in the way, so I think I'll move them over a little bit. Get them out of the way. Okay, so we're going to cut a dado in here at the midpoint-ish, and we're going to cut a rabbet at the top, which is a pretty similar cut. In order to do this, there's a couple ways you could do it. First of all, we have the midpoint. One of the cool things about this, you can use the tape measure and do a measurement to the edge of your the first edge of your dado cut, but it's actually almost as easy to use the midpoint. So I'm going to scroll in a little bit on this piece of wood here so we can see it, and I'll rotate in so we can see where we're working. So see, I'm at the midpoint, and I know that I want a 7 1/4 by 3/4 inch rectangle in order to extrude in and build the dado. But rather than measure it, I can use the midpoint tool and say, okay, I'm going to go down, and I'm going to go over to the left. And what do I want for dimensions here? Well, I want half of the 3/4 inch. So I want 3/8 by the 7 1/4. Okay, so that was the midpoint and I moved to the left. So now I can do the same thing and go the other direction. Dunk. And I want to go, in this case, it's reading 7 1/4 first. So I'm going to go 7.25, comma, 3/8. And get another triangle or rectangle. Now the 2 of them put together makes my 3/4 inch. So all I need to do now is get rid of that middle line. Gone. So now that is the dado cut in the middle of that 24 inches. So now all I need to do is extrude it in so that it shows that distance. So I'll use the push-pull. And depending on what you're doing with dados, I've read that you can go anywhere from a third to a quarter, or sorry, a third to a halfway, depending on whether you're trying to really square it up for anti-racking or if you want to keep the strength, the vertical strength of this piece of board. So we'll go, with this one, we'll just go a quarter of the way. So it's a 3/4 inch. I want to go a 1/4 of an inch. So I'll try it, but oh, I can let go right there. But normally I would just start extruding and then I'd key in 0.25 or 1/4 in order to get the thing done. Okay, so there's my dado cut into that piece of wood. Now we'll do the rabbet. Rabbet, it's a single rabbet that we're doing here. So it's pretty much the same process. We're going to build ourselves a rectangle starting at this corner, but this time we can go all the way to 3/4 of an inch. So 7.25, 0.75, boom. And this time I think we'll cut this in halfway because there's no need to provide strength at the end of the board, assuming that this would be the top of a shelf or something like that. So we'll use the extrude. I'm going to push, and this time I'm going to go 3/8. And I happen to land right on 3/8. Don't need to land on 3/8, but there we go. Now, one of the things that I caution against right now is putting this together right away. And that's because it can be difficult to find things and separate them out if you're building your, if you're preparing your materials list. So the way that I do that is I generally take each piece and call it something under a tag so that you can visualize it. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this thing. We're going to call this the side. And so I go over to this icon on this side, which is your tags. Click on it. And I don't need these materials or anything, but that's the materials. I had that open previously. So here we are in tags. I hit plus. I'm just going to call it side. Okay. Now I haven't applied that to the selected object, so what you want to do is hit this triple dot, and that means anything that you have selected on the screen, which in this case is all of the pieces of the side, I'm going to tag it as a side. Okay. I'll hide that away by hitting this close panel, get rid of that. Now all we got to do is we got to move these pieces to slide in there. But again, I don't want to slide them in without being able to take them apart again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them and make sure that I can tag them as pieces. So I'm going to use my select tool, click once to unselect that side piece, and I'm going to call this middle shelf. And that's empty right now. I haven't got anything attached to it yet. So I'm going to add the selected objects to it. There we go. And then I can hide this away. Now I want to select this guy. I want to make that to top shelf. So add top shelf. Now, one of the things you can do here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, is visualize this and make sure it hides things. Oh, I don't have my top shelf actually selected. I forgot to do that. So now if I hide it, it goes away, and the middle shelf goes away. Okay, that's going to become important because when you want to look at your materials separately after you've assembled the model, it can be difficult to do. Now, this is where you got to be kind of careful with your mousing. I'll hide this away here. I'll zoom in a little bit. I want that corner, this corner right here, I want it to slide to meet up with that little inset corner. So I want to get them fairly close together, first of all. And now I'm going to use the move tool, and I'm going to grab that point. You grab that end point. Don't grab it on the middle or on an edge or anything. Grab it right at the end point, And then you want to mouse in here, and you got to try to make sure that it clicks into the right spot. It can be difficult. Sometimes what I like is I like getting close, and then you can zoom in and have a little bit more precision to snap it in place. Boom. So what happened there is, I'm going to undo that. When I went here, I had clicked the control while I had this the control key. I had clicked it in order to zoom in. So that meant that this was doing a copy, a clone. Now I'm back to not cloning, so I can have to select it again. I want to make sure I select exactly the whole thing. No, didn't get it all. Still didn't get it all. Here we go. There. Now I can zoom in here, and because I haven't got the move tool selected, hitting the control doesn't clone. So you got to be careful. Watch for this plus sign. So I've grabbed the endpoint, and I'm going to drop that endpoint right into that spot. Doink. All right, so that one's in place. Now what I'll do is I'll back up, and you'll see I was using the control to scroll out, and now I have the plus sign. So hitting the control a couple times gets that under control. Oh, I'm all over the place with rotating here. Oh, I can do it this way, but get this under control again. Okay. So I need to be able to see this whole thing, so I'm holding the shift and I'm sliding up. And I'm going to select that middle shelf. Now I'm going to scroll in a little closer, shift down a little bit. I can probably do that from that spot. There, select the endpoint, drop it in there. And there's my Rabbet and my Dado. Now, when you want to figure out what do I need to build, you can go to your tags and you can hide them, hide the pieces. I should put that in the right place so you can see it here. So I can hide the pieces separately. We can sort of focus on that this piece that needs the most work done. Another thing you can do, this is kind of fun. This is color codes based on random colors to separate your pieces. And of course, with this sort of thing, you're probably going to want to have some measurements. So you can scroll in nice and tight here, and you can say, I need to display some measurements on my markup here. I need to go from here to here. Wherever you want to put that, how far apart those shelves are. Maybe you want that measurement from the bottom to the bottom of that Dado so that you can set your router. So you can throw a measurement there, there, slide that out, that sort of thing. Okay, so that's the process I would use for building Dado and Rabbets.